Basic geometrical shapes. Take 2475. Hello, boys and girls. Today we are going to be talking about basic geometrical shapes. This helps out in larger areas of geometry, design, building, art, drawing, all sorts of facets of human life. Very, very important topic and can be very helpful to those creative types out there. Talking to you. So let's get into it. The most basic of all geometrical shapes is the point. A point is an exact location in space that's represented by a dot. That's it, a dot. We usually give these dots a name. So, for instance, in this case, this dot here, call it point A. The letters usually are just the letter of a name. Point A. Simple enough, right? A line. A line is a set of points that extends in opposite directions without ending. Goes on and on and on in each direction. Now, you've probably thought all your life that anything from one straight point to another point is a line. Not quite so when it comes to geometry. A line actually, by definition, goes on forever without ending. And that is denoted by two letters, okay, on a line with arrows in both directions, showing that it goes on and on and on and on. Now, this line happens to have a point A on it and a point B on it, so we call this line, you guessed it, line AB. And if you look at the symbol for this larger figure, it's just the letters A and B with a little line and arrows in both directions. What you probably thought was a line all your life is actually considered a line segment. Segment means a part of. So a line segment is a part of a line between two endpoints. And here's a real life example. This is a wrench found in my garage. Here's one endpoint. Here's another endpoint. And the line is from this point to this point. Okay? Now, a line segment can be measured. While a line goes on forever and cannot be measured, a line segment can. And there's symbols for these as well. For example, in this example here, there's point X and point Y. And in between them, we call it line segment XY. There are no arrows on the ends of a line segment. And it can be symbolized with the two letters X and Y with a line segment on top of it. No arrows here. Okay, so we would call this line segment XY. The next one is a ray. A ray is a part of a line and part of a line segment. In other words, it has one endpoint and one end that goes on forever and ever and ever. In this example, I took a picture of a clock on my wall. Here's the end point. And from this end point, there's an arrow going outwards, okay, pointing out into that direction. This can be symbolized as well to have one end point and one arrow. Now, here is line segment PQ and line segment RN. The thing about these symbols is whichever side has the end point, that is the letter that goes first in the symbol. In other words, even though the Q is on this side and the P is on this side, this one has the end point, so therefore that letter goes first, and the symbol above it is shown there. Ray P Q. Over here, this is ray RN. Here's the symbol for it. Here's the actual figure. End point R, point N, and the arrow going off in that direction. Now, sometimes we get into a situation where two lines meet. Okay, we see it all the time in roads and sidewalks and designs all around. Okay, in nature, this is where two lines meet at a cross. Okay, and they meet at one certain point. Here's one I found in my house. It's like an X looking music stand here. Okay, here's a line or line segment. Here's a line or line segment, and this is where they meet. We call these two intersecting lines. Okay, this line is intersecting with this line. Maybe you've heard this term before where two roads meet. We call it an intersection. Okay. Now, this is a very special set of intersecting lines. We call this perpendicular lines. These are lines that cross or meet at a 90-degree angle. In other words, where they meet, they make that sort of capital L shape. Okay, we call it square angle or a 90-degree angle. I want you to remember those terms: a square angle or a 90-degree or a right angle. There's a lot of names for it because it's a very important angle. Okay, and again, it's that L shape. And we've got a special symbol for those as well. I'm going to show you two symbols for perpendicular lines and right angles. Okay, first of all, here we have line segment QR intersecting with ray TL. And right here in the middle, this is where we can tell they are perpendicular lines. The way we know that they're perpendicular lines is a few different reasons. This little box symbol here, that shows us that it is actually a 90-degree square angle. Okay, people put a little square there to show that something is a 90-degree square angle. Another way we can tell is by the symbols down below here. We've got ray TL is perpendicular to, this is the symbol for perpendicular, and the line segment QR. So if we were to say this as a sentence, we would say ray TL is perpendicular to line segment QR. I bet if you look around your house right now, you could find all sorts of perpendicular lines. You can do that after the video. Finally, parallel lines. Parallel lines are very common as well. You see them around your house, in buildings. These are lines that are the same distance apart and will never meet. Okay? In other words, they're the same distance apart, so they do not touch each other, ever. Lines that are at an angle will usually intersect. Parallel lines do not. So you can see how this line is parallel to this line and this line. They are the same distance apart here and here. And if you were to extend those lines all the way out for miles and miles, they still would not meet. They are parallel lines. Here we've got, let's see, line RL, and we've got ray YZ. We can say that these two are parallel. They are the same distance apart here and here and here, and will continue to be the same distance apart no matter how far they go. Down below here, we've got the symbols for those. This is line RL. You can tell it's a line because of the arrows. Line RL is parallel to ray YZ. This parallel symbol, okay, when used in geometry, it's like two lowercase l's right next to each other. And if you have trouble forgetting that, I'm going to go back one. Take a look at the word parallel. Parallel, the word itself actually has two parallel lines in it. Pretty fancy. So I want to say thank you for... excuse me. Oh, sorry, one second. Hello? Hi, Miss Schmidt. What? I was just... What do you mean it's not good enough? What do you mean I need to do dances and hand signals? Ay, ay, ay. Okay, let me see what I can do. Point. Show your arrows. Line. Line segment with two endpoints. Line segment. One endpoint, one arrow, a ray. 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 Intersecting. Perpendicular. Parallel. Geometry has a lot of vocabulary associated with it. I am going to include some of those symbols and definitions with the PowerPoint. I'm going to attach it to your assignment sheet, and that should help you as you do your line assignment this week. Be prepared because we're going to use this vocabulary as we move forward into angles and different shapes. All right, boys and girls, thank you very much for watching. As always, I enjoy our time together, and I hope to see you soon. Toodaloo.